Okay, so welcome to the part 3 of this video tutorial, and we will start with the round number 15. So let's slip into the next double crochet, slip stitch into the first chain of the chain 3 space and into the chain 3 space. We will start with a chain 3 for the first double crochet. We will do one more double crochet into the same space, chain 3 and 2 more double crochets into the same chain 3 space. So our beginning shell is made. Now we will chain 3 and single crochet into the first chain 1 space between the double crochets, chain 3, single crochet into the next chain 1 space, chain 3, single crochet into the next chain 1 space, chain 3, and single crochet into the last chain 1 space between the double crochets, chain 3, and we'll do a shell over the next shell. So 2 double crochets, chain 3 and 2 more double crochets. So in this round we will have 3 chain 3 loops in our pineapple. Chain 3 and shell over the next shell. So 2 double crochets, chain 3 and 2 more double crochets. Okay, so this is the repeat for this pattern. Your chain 3, single crochet into the first chain 1 space between the double crochets, chain 3, single crochet into the next chain 1 space, chain 3, single crochet into the next chain 1 space, chain 3, and single crochet into the last chain 1 space. Again, chain 3, shell over the next shell, so it's 2 double crochets, chain 3 and 2 double crochets, chain 3 and shell over the next shell. Chain 3 and single crochet into the first chain 1 space between the double crochets, chain 3, single crochet into the next space, chain 3, single crochet into the next chain 1 space, chain 3, single crochet into the last chain 1 space. Then we'll chain 3 and we'll do a shell over the next shell, chain 3, shell over the next shell, chain 3, and again skip this chain 1 double crochet and single crochet into the first chain 1 space between the double crochets. Okay, we'll slip stitch into the third chain, slip stitch into the next double crochet into the first chain of the chain 3 space and into the chain 3 space, chain 3 for the first double crochet, and we will do our starting shell. So 1 more double crochet, chain 3 and 2 more double crochets into the same chain 3 space, chain 3 and single crochet into the first chain 3 loop of our pineapple, chain 3, single crochet into the next loop, chain 3, and single crochet into the last loop of our pineapple. So in this round we will have 2 chain 3 loops in our pineapple, chain 3, shell over the next shell, so 2 double crochets, chain 3 and 2 more double crochets, now we will chain 5, and shell over the next shell. Chain 3, and we will repeat this pattern around. So single crochet into the first chain 3 loop of our pineapple, chain 3, single crochet into the next chain 3 loop, and chain 3, single crochet into the last loop, chain 3, shell over the next shell, then we will chain 5 and do shell in the next shell, chain 3, and again single crochet into the first chain 3 loop of our pineapple. Okay. We will slip stitch into the third chain, now we will start round number 17, slip stitch into the next double crochet into the first chain of chain 3 space and into the chain 3 space. Let's do a starting shell, so chain 3 for the first double crochet, 1 more double crochet into the same space, chain 3, and 2 more double crochets into the same chain 3 space. Chain 3, single crochet into the first chain 3 loop of our pineapple, chain 3, and single crochet into the next chain 3 loop. Now chain 3, and we'll do shell over a shell, so 2 double crochets, chain 3, and 2 more double crochets. So in this round we will have only 1 loop remaining in our mini pineapple. Now we will chain 1 and into the third chain of our chain 5 space between these 2 shells we will work a shell. So into the third chain we will do 2 double crochets, 1, 2, chain 3, and 2 more double crochets into the same chain, chain 1, and shell over the next shell. Chain 3. So here it is, our first shell, chain 1, and then a shell into the third chain of this chain 5 space between the shells in the previous round, chain 1 and shell over the next shell, chain 3, and repeat this pattern, single crochet into the first chain 3 loop, chain 3, single crochet into the second and the last chain 3 loop, chain 3, shell over the next shell, chain 1, and a shell into the third chain of the chain 5 space. So 1, 2, 3. Into the third we will do a shell, 2 double crochets, chain 3 and 2 more double crochets, all into the one chain. Chain 1, so it's nice and in the middle. Chain 1 and shell over the next shell. Chain 3 and repeat this pattern around. So single crochet into the first chain 3 loop of our pineapple, chain 3, single crochet into the last loop, chain 3, shell over a shell, chain 1, shell into the third chain of chain 5 space, chain 1, shell over the next shell, chain 3, and again single crochet into the first chain 3 loop of our pineapple. Okay, so we will slip stitch into the third chain, we'll start round number 18, slip stitch into the next double crochet to the first chain of chain 3 space and into the chain 3 space. We will do our starting shell, so chain 3, double crochet, chain 3 and 2 more double crochets into the same chain 3 space. Now we will chain 4, 1, 2, 3 and 4, and single crochet in our last chain 3 loop of our pineapple. Chain 4, 2, 3, 4 and shell over the next shell. So 2 double crochets, chain 3 and 2 more double crochets. Now we will chain 3 and shell over the next shell. Chain 3, shell over the next shell, so 2 double crochets, chain 3 and 2 more double crochets, and again chain 4, single crochet in our last chain 3 loop of pineapple, chain 4 and shell over the next shell. So you will repeat this pattern around. We will chain 3 and we will do a shell over the next shell, chain 3, shell over a shell, chain 4, single crochet into the last loop, chain 3 loop of our pineapple, chain 4, and again shell over a shell, chain 3, shell over the next shell, chain 3, shell over the next shell, chain 4, and so on. Slip stitch into the third chain, start round number 19, slip stitch into the next double crochet into the first chain of chain 3 space and slip stitch into the chain 3 space. Chain 3 for the first double crochet, chain 3 and 2 more double crochets into the same chain 3 space, 1 and 2. Okay, now we will chain 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7, and we will skip this chain 4, single crochet and chain 4, and we will do shell over the next shell. So 2 double crochets, chain 3 and 2 more double crochets. Chain 5, shell over the next shell. Chain 5, shell over the next shell. So 2 double crochets, chain 3 and 2 more double crochets. Like that. So we have our shell over a shell, chain 7, shell over a shell, chain 5, shell over a shell, chain 5, shell over a shell, and again over this pineapple we will chain 7, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and we'll do a shell over the next shell. And again chain 5, 3, 4, 5, and we will repeat this around. So shell in the next shell, chain 5, shell over the next shell, chain 7, skip this, and go straight into the next shell and do shell over a shell. Chain 5, shell over the next shell, chain 5, shell over the next shell, chain 7, and shell over the next shell. So to end this round, we'll slip stitch into the third chain as usual. Now for the start round 20, slip stitch into the next double crochet, first chain of the chain 3 and into the chain 3 space. And we will do our starting shell with a chain 3, double crochet, chain 3 and 2 more double crochets into the same space. Now we'll chain 1, and here we have our chain 7 space. Into the fourth chain, 1, 2, 3, 4, we will do a shell. So 2 double crochets, chain 3 and 2 more double crochets, all in this fourth chain. Chain 1 and shell over the next shell. Like that. Chain 1. Here we have our chain 5 space, and into the third chain we'll do a shell. So 1, 2 into the third chain, we'll do a shell. Chain 3 and 2 more double crochets into the same chain. Chain 1, shell over the next shell. Chain 1, again into the third chain of the chain 5 space, we will do a shell. So 2 double crochets, chain 3 and 2 more double crochets, all in the third chain, chain 1 and shell over the next shell. Chain 1 and we will repeat. So where we have a chain of 7 space, we will do a shell into the fourth chain, chain 1 shell over a shell, chain 1 shell into the third chain of the chain 5 space, chain 1 shell over a shell, again chain 1 shell over the third chain into the third chain, so, and then chain 1 and shell over a shell. That, so this is the pattern to repeat. Okay, so into the fourth we will do a shell, chain 1, shell over a shell, chain 1, shell into the third chain, chain 1, shell over a shell, chain 1, shell into the third chain, chain 1 and shell over a shell. Chain 1 and again shell over the fourth chain and so on. Okay, slip stitch into the third chain, okay, and we'll start our last round. Slip stitch into the next double crochet into the first chain of the chain 3 space and into the chain 3 space. Okay, we'll do our starting shell, chain 3, double crochet, chain 3 and 2 more double crochets into the same space, chain 1, and the pattern for this round is in every shell of the previous round we will do a shell and chain 1 between. So shell into the next shell, chain 1, shell over a next shell, chain 1, shell over a next shell, and we will repeat this throughout the round 21. So we will do a shell over every shell of the previous round and chain 1 between. Okay, and we are at the end of this round and this doily. So slip stitch into the third chain, chain one, and we can cut the thread and fasten off like that. So all you need is hide this end and you're done. So hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and yeah, if you're not yet, please subscribe to my channel and see you next time.